Hey everybody, Sterling R. Jackson. Today we're going to talk about how to improve your tone right now. Alright, so something that not enough vocal teachers cover, not enough vocal courses cover for some reason. It's something that I teach all the time, that I preach all the time. It's something I think very fundamentally important to singing, important to finding your unique voice, important to finding all kinds of things. And it's called placement. Now, I'm going to make this lesson a little bit shorter. And then, as always, if you want an extended lesson or if you want to see the extended version of this lesson, you can join me on Patreon. Like $10 a month, I have a whole bunch of lessons like this that I'm going to continue to extend and answer questions for you, all kinds of things like that. So you can join me on there if you want. Anyway, so when we talk about placement, what the hell do I mean? Placement is your vocal cords are positioned here behind your larynx. For men, it's the Adam's apple. Women have a larynx too, or have a little bit of an Adam's apple type of thing. If you put your hand sideways like this and you swallow, you should be able to feel something moving around, a little dot. And your vocal cords are positioned like this behind there. Now, when you speak, or more importantly, when you sing a note, your voice is positioning itself or placing itself somewhere in the mouth. If you go, you really have to pay attention, be perceptive of what you're feeling. Now, of course, you're going to feel this rattling. That's where the vibration's coming from. But that voice should be positioning itself and bouncing somewhere in the mouth. Like a laser pointer, we should be bouncing that off of somewhere. In this case, mine feels like it's rattling kind of my hard palate, kind of in the middle between my hard palate and the front teeth, here the back of the front teeth, and the soft palate. The soft palate is where your uvula hangs down. And we want to find out where that kind of naturally wants to sit, because what's important about that is that once we find that kind of natural placement, we want to continue to mimic or keep that natural placement throughout all of our vowels and throughout all of the words that we're saying as much as we can, because it'll create a warmth, consistency, and a generalized tone through our singing. When we speak, some people have better tone than others, and some people it might vary a lot more, because when we're speaking, enunciation and things that, other words and stuff move our placement around. Especially if I say the word me, my voice or my mouth goes horizontal like this, it tends to flatten things out. So the pressure building between here and here tends to flatten out, and the placement goes me and comes straight out of the mouth. So I have lost essentially my placement, or my placement has shifted. Some of this making sense? Now, one of the best things about placement or improving your voice right now is that you're going to continuously find your specific tone, the way that your voice sounds in your skull, in your sinuses, or whatever. Maybe you feel more comfortable and your voice has more of a pharyngeal or nasal quality, or maybe your voice is positioned a little bit more here. We all know Blink-182. Don't waste your time, oh my God. That placement is always a little bit more here, and there's an over-enunciation. SNL did a thing about that too, the Californians. What are you doing here? That's about Californian accents, and no offense to them, of course, and it's not everybody in California, but there tends to be an over-enunciation. If you over-enunciate in singing, it's cutting you off from a lot of that tone. Now, singing is vowels. What do I mean by that? I mean it's the elongation or the elongating of vowels. Specifically, if we use the word great, and you might have heard me talk about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. If we sing the word great, there's a lot in there. Great, great, great. Now, why does that sound nice when I do it? Because I am focused on the vowel and my placement and not the enunciation of all those things. We have a G in the front, which is not going to help our singing voice. We have an R, which R's sound terrible in singing. R. And then we have a T at the end, which shuts down the singing voice altogether. Great. T. So we focus on the vowel, and we focus on where our voice is sitting in there. Great, great. Makes sense? The enunciation happens right here in the front of the face. So we want to be gentle about that. If you practice something like this, or the fundamental idea, one of the ways you can get better at this right away is learn to back off the enunciation, or even become more mush-mouthy. Overdo it at first and learn what it feels like, learn the principles of it, and learn the physical feelings of it so that you can build some muscle memory and then reel it back into where you're comfortable. But it's going to help you tremendously, I promise. Now, ways that you can sharpen this right now or get better at this right now. First of all, you can try the great word that I just sang. But we'll take a couple scales right here, simple scales. We're going to run through our vowels. The important thing we're remembering here is that we're going to take like a ball shape, like this. In my age, I'm 37, we used to have these things that you would turn, you put a quarter in, you get like one of those bouncy balls, and then you go out in the parking lot and go, and it would shoot off. So think about something like that. Not a ping pong ball, we're not choking to death, but we're keeping a ball right in the mouth. Not in the front, not too far in the back, but right in the middle of the mouth. Like this. And give me some of that, like ah. Give me some of that placement again that we were trying to find. Get it? If you have to be louder, whatever you need to do to feel that kind of rattling or that kind of needle point and laser pointed position. Now we're going to start to keep that ball shape, and we're going to start running through these vowels. The important thing is that if we have to enunciate something like an E, don't flatten the ball. So if I go E, I instantly just went and flattened that ball. No bueno. So we want to start to shed more of the E vowel instead and keep the vowel open. So if we have to vowel modify, we're going to do that on purpose to maintain a better tone, because that will sound better than how much you're able to enunciate and sing the word me. You hear people shed me and e's all the time. Even in something like rock music, like Korn, he actually ended up doing it stylistically all the time. Something takes a part of me. So anyway, so let's start with a couple vowels here. We're going to go through them A to, all the vowels. You know them. A. Finding that up on the top. If you need to close your eyes, whatever you need to do, pay attention to that feeling. And again. A. E. Very important with you too. E and U will push you towards head voice because it brings tension into the mouth and it makes you want to go more horizontal. You. So that becomes more of an open vowel. Don't squish the ball. You. Oh, you. So we'll do them all together like this now. A, I, O, U. A, I, O, U. Now that consistency and that tone, once again, will not only teach you more about what your voice naturally wants to do, where it naturally wants to sit, but it will sound more pleasing to the ear. It will give you more resonance. It will do a lot of things for you. When you push into it from the diaphragm, it will give you a broader sound. And like I said, that is something that's going to make your voice sound better all the time. Now you're going to have to spend time doing it. You're going to have to spend time practicing it. You don't have to be one of these people, at least I don't think so, that has to break songs down in terms of the vowels and all those different kinds of things. It becomes a feeling. It becomes something that you internalize and you pay attention to. Now we get on to something more important. As you sing higher, you're going to start squishing the ball. You're going to start changing that shape. And what needs to happen is more of what we typically refer to as vowel modification, but it's still placement. It's still all centered around the same thing. What we're going to be doing, instead of paying attention to what every vowel moves to, which I think is ridiculous, once again, these are feelings, these are internal things that you're paying attention to. Instead of trying to map out like an A or an E goes to an A, and everything goes, if it's horizontal, it changes to vertical. Everything that you're doing becomes more vertical as you go higher. Everything stretches like this. If it feels like it's going to stretch like this at all, you're screwed. It is not going to work. If you are building tension at any way in your throat as you're getting higher in your range, mostly we're talking about chest voice, you're setting yourself up with a wall and you're going to hit the wall. Whether you start building more tension and making crazy faces and stuff, or whether your voice just flips when you get to there, You have built a wall, you've hit the wall, and then, bad things happen and your mom doesn't love you anymore. So the important thing, once again, instead of all the vowel modification stuff, is remember verticality. We're always thinking vertical. If you have to go full opera, oh, then do that. You don't always have to sing like that. You can always reel it back in. Always go a little farther and then reel it back in. So if we take something like sirens, which you know that I love to do, very simple. If we take something like an O, we're going to move that to an oo. Oh, because if we hold on to the O, we'll start to build a wall. Oh, and there I just flipped. Oh, so if I take an O and I stretch it, oh, how about A? There I'm going over my bridge. I'm not squishing the ball. There I'm squishing the ball. Make sense? E changes to an A, but we don't need to know that. Just make it vertical. E. Once again, remember man in the box. Feed my eyes, fade my eyes. Making sense? I is a perfect one because if you stay centered in that I kind of shape, it turns into a vertical vowel very easily too. The more you notice this in your voice, the more you'll notice it in other people's voices, the more you'll notice if their placement doesn't work very well. It's an important thing to remember. It's an important thing to pay attention to. And like I said, it can make your voice better right now if you start to put it into practice. Another thing I'll run through here really quick is that paying attention to it in other people's voices is that as you sing higher, your placement will change. Also, with the ball shape and all that kind of stuff, that placement, we either want to go forward and shoot out of the mouth, once again, setting up a wall, going like this, the pressure building. Singing is a pressure tension building game where we balance it or we don't balance it. So instead of going like this, where things get smaller, the vocal cords move up, the larynx moves up, and then the pressure builds, and then we flip, we're going to be going vertically again. So once again, the placement, though, would be moving backwards when we sing correctly. So as I go up like this, oh, what you're actually hearing on a physical level is that my placement has gone from my hard palate back towards my soft palate. Oh, therefore, I am letting the resonance elevator move literally behind my soft palate and up into my sinus cavity in my head voice. Ooh, that's what you're hearing right there. So if we build too much tension, we can't allow that to happen because the placement's fallen down here and the tension has nowhere to go. That building pressure has nowhere to go. But if we do it correctly, we're allowing the tension to literally move up into the sinuses and the head voice. Make sense? I hope so. So thank you for joining me here. I'm going to continue this lesson on Patreon. Have a good day.